Welcome, fellow salespeople, entrepreneurs, and anyone who wants to become a sales coach, or if you're a beginner and you want to learn some basic sales techniques that will put you over and above and make you be the pro that you want to be, earning at least six figures a year. My name is Al Green. I'm a sales coach, and I have brought many people to the place of earning at least six figures a year. I want to share with you one quick story. I was an amateur astronomer years ago. I bought a telescope and I would scan the heavens looking for different things. I'll tell you one thing that was common was that every time I would show somebody Saturn, it would blow them away. They can't believe it's there. And they would really ask me if it was real or was I showing them a slide. But for some reason, Saturn was the one thing that always turned people on. I could show them Jupiter and they were kind of impressed. Pictures of the moon, etc. And it was a lot of fun because the fun was sharing it with people. But at the same time, being an amateur, I was selling to aerospace, to some of the biggest space companies, names that you would know. And at the same time, they led me into one of the local universities that had an astronomy department. And I met a gentleman who was a professional astronomer. He had a PhD and he knew everything that I didn't know. I was reading the books, I was studying, but it was like when I met him, he was speaking a different language. And he took me aside and said, I'll show you a few things if you want to just, hang out a little bit. So we had some coffee and we started talking. Next thing you know, I'm making a friend. Not only did I sell him something that he badly needed, but it was a cabinet that was hermetically sealed so he could keep these precious films that he needed to use. And at the same time, he tried it out. He told me he had a very large department of other people, and he ordered 23 more of these cabinets. And I got to tell you, that was one of the biggest and brightest sales I had made. At the same time, when I was selling to the large aerospace company, they were incognito because of security. They couldn't use their real names. As a matter of fact, I can't even tell you the name of the company because it's top secret. But the company that I was selling to was helping build a lot of the space programs that have been working in the space program for many years. At the time, they were brand new. But you would call the company because you can't go visit them in person, and you would talk to them on the phone. And they would pick up the phone and just say hello, like you were calling just another person. They wouldn't say, hello, this is XYZ Corporation or whatever it was called. They would just say hello, and I would say, is this June? And this woman would say, yeah, it is. And I go, it's Al from, and I would mention my company. And she'd say, hey, listen, I need a couple things or whatever. Or I would ask her, what do you need this week? And I would make huge sales to this company because they had a big need with thousands of vendors that sold to them that needed the products that I sold, but I couldn't sell to those other vendors because I wasn't allowed to know who they were. So they were like a conduit for me. I would sell it to them and then they would share it with their vendors and they would get their jobs done. I can't say that I was part of the space program, but I could say that I was one of the vendors that was servicing the space program. It was brilliant. And I did that for years. And then after the space program moved away to a place that was many states away and I couldn't go there, then I changed to a different industry. But I also decided I would try a couple other types of selling, like selling advertising, an intangible. I sold insurance, and I also sold a lot of things like bill collecting. That was a fun one. Detective works, stuff like that. I decided as a salesperson, I could sell anything because there was a common theme throughout all types of selling. It doesn't matter the industry. And there are techniques that are not written in any sales book, any training book I have found anywhere. In fact, there's techniques I've never heard in any of the thousands of seminars I've listened to. I used to go to seminars. I would listen to the recordings in my car, and I would still keep up with this. But I have never heard the techniques that I found to use that sometimes people would ask me if it was ethical. And the techniques I use are completely ethical. They're completely founded on basic networking skills. But networking is something a lot of people don't understand. And yet the people that do understand it usually excel in it. And then those are the people who hit the good numbers. I want you to hit the good numbers. So what I want you to do is join me in my masterclass, and then I will find out what you're interested in, and I will give you personal consultation. When you join my program, I will give you my personal number that you can call me, and I will personally consult with you on whatever industry you're in and how you might need help to help build up your sales. And if you're a person who wants to be a sales coach or is a sales coach and you want to get your team to higher numbers, the techniques I have not been found in any other program. And I've taken a lot of programs to see what they're doing. I've read a lot of books. I must have hundreds of books on techniques about sales and dealing with people, all kinds of dynamics. And you've heard a lot of these names that did the writing, but the fact is some of the best teachers were not teaching these techniques. I learned these by going to the programs, such as the seminars, and talking to them or their associates in person and learning techniques. But at the same time, I experimented myself because I was taught by a person in a completely unrelated industry that taught me how to penetrate any company I wanted to get into. And there's a large pharmaceutical company that is near me that is very, very difficult. You can't get in there unless you know somebody. So the point is, how did I manage for 2 years to work on it, and everybody said, oh, you can't get into that company. They're impossible. But I got in, and it took me about 2 years. And when I got in, I had a meeting with one of the top executives who then sent me to some of the buyers. And then later, I was able to make a sale to that company, which put them on my list as being now a customer. And as they, in their other departments, needed other things, I was invited to go be there. Now, that's pretty good. It's one thing to get behind the closed doors of a company. It's another thing to be invited and get to go there once you've made contact and you've made a friend there. That's the value of common bonds that you find when you're selling. And some of these techniques you'll hear about a little bit in the beginning in my orientation class that I want you to take. I want you to register. There's a link in this video, and I want you to register and be a part of this. It's absolutely free to find out about it. And when you join the program, I will give you my personal information so that you can call me and I will consult with you one-on-one in any industry that you're working in. I've dealt with people that are in the farming industry, people in chemistry. I've sold to some of the biggest companies that were impossible to get into, names that you would know, names that are controversial, some of the names that created programs that people think are not good programs. But I've also sold to the pharmaceutical industry, as well as the insurance industry, as well as advertising, a lot of intangibles. I have not done a lot with people that are in unrelated industries that don't use salespeople because they don't need salespeople. But one of the selling techniques is to get a company to realize that they do need a representative. Why? Because your competitor doesn't know what you know and what you're about to learn. Your competitor is going to be lost, and they're going to wonder why you're getting the sales and they're not. As a matter of fact, one of my competitors told their salespeople, I don't care what you have to do, get the business away from Al Green. And that's the kind of an impact I had. And guess what? They tried and tried and tried. And once in a while, they were successful because I can't win everything and you can't either. But you can win enough to make sure that you're taken care of and your company sees you as a top salesperson. That's how you win those awards. You go over the top. How do you do that? Well, part of it is working every day and never neglecting your work, because you are now an entrepreneur and you are a person who's technically like in your own business. So I want you to join me. Click on the link and register for my masterclass, and I will look forward to seeing you there. Please stay tuned. This is not I guess you could call it a boot camp. It's just information. It's absolutely free, and you're not obligated when you come to my class, but you will be enticed in wanting to join me in my program. So I look forward to seeing you there. Please click on the link, and I will look forward to seeing you.